This film truly is fantastic in every aspect. So let's talk about the hot new horror classic in the making, Saint Maud. Saint Maud has been highly talked about for like a year and a half now because it was supposed to be out last year, then COVID, and then they're like, we're just going to keep pushing it back and back and back and back because we want this in theaters. And then I'm like, this isn't a film that makes a lot of money in theaters, so this is just a pointless waste of my time. And they put it on Vine and it's on a streaming service and all that good stuff. So I can talk about it. So let's talk about it. So far, this is the best movie I've seen this year, which isn't saying much because I've only seen 3 films that came out this year. So it's like, but that's actually a good thing because this is probably going to remain in my top 5 all year. I really love this movie. I think it's fantastic. What is Saint Maud? Basically, Saint Maud follows a um I don't know the proper term, but a housing nurse, like a nurse that cares for you at your home, and she basically lives with you for the most part. Who basically has a traumatic event from her past that she's trying to recoup from, and because of the traumatic event, she has recently found God, and she believes that her higher purpose is to help people. Her higher purpose is to save the patient who is dying from cancer that she's caring for. And she believes her purpose is to rid her of her sin and help her find God. And Saint Maud believes that she herself can feel God around her, and she sometimes hears God speak to her. And it goes from there without getting into spoilers. Um, the lead performance is insanely talented. Um, she's gentle, she's kind, she's nurturing, but also at the very time she's very off-putting. She's very disturbing. She's creepy, and I don't want to sound mean here, but some religious fanatics are that way. They're very calm and caring, but at the same time they have like this off-putting vibe about them, and she carries that throughout this entire movie. And the way it's shot is very, I don't want to say grimy because that sounds like it's bad, but the way it's shot and the use of camera angles and the use of like a complete sapped color palette, it feels grimy, it feels dirty, it feels gritty, and it should. This type of movie should, and I applaud the director for that because it really works really well in this. The soundtrack is incredible. I've listened to it after I watched it. It's piercing. It just cuts right through to your soul. It's amazing stuff. And after I watched this, I'm like, okay, so the theme is religion, faith can warp your reality. And after thinking about it for a day, 2 days, 3 days, I'm like, this film is so much more. Because this film's about this person that's just alone. Because after her traumatic experience, she loses all her friends, her family, all that. And it's just, I realize that this film's not about faith. It's about, well, it is obviously, but it's about being alone, feeling lost in the world that you don't know what to do in, and it's about self belief in a higher purpose that you have that just completely morphs and molds the world around you. And it's really, really great, fantastic stuff that really makes you think. For me at least, it made me think about myself and how I always think that like I know I'm destined for great things. I fully believe that I am. And it's like I'm not gonna let that completely change and morph my world and who I am. But to some people it does. And it's some like really intense stuff. And this film gets really intense. It it's some there's one scene that I found hard to watch, and it's teased in the trailer that of course I'm not going to put in here because YouTube would probably flag this for violence. But it's a scene where Maud is trying to atone for her sins, and it's really messed up. It's stomach churning. And there's a few stomach churning scenes. And this doesn't really rely on jump scares, thank God. Because all my favorite horror movies in the last like few years did it, like The Lodge, Hereditary, The Witch, Swallow. They don't rely on jump scares. And this didn't. This has, I think, one jump scare in it, and it scared the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie, because it's so random and it just happens out of nowhere. But it fits. It totally fits. It's meant to scare you, so it's actually a really well done jump scare. So kudos. And this film just feels like I said earlier, it's gritty, it's dirty, it's grimy, and all that just leads to this overwhelming sense of dread throughout the entire movie. And I want to rewatch it, but it's like I don't want to sit through those specific scenes again right now. So I'll probably rewatch it in a few weeks because I think this film is pretty fantastic. And I know a lot of people like lost the hype for it because it was pushed back so much, but I think that's just silly. If you were excited for something a year ago, why not still be excited for it? It just doesn't make sense to me. But Saint Maud, fantastic film in all aspects. Go watch it, support it, check it out. I am extremely excited for what this director does next. I'll be in the theater or on my couch, depending on if theaters or even ever come back. Who knows? But like always, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.